Hi, I'm Eileen Blodgett and happy to be with you today doing some sculpture. So I thought it would be fun if we used some paper to make 3D sculpture today. And the materials that you'll need are, you're going to need some cardstock or postcards, or maybe you can find something in the recycle bin. So today you might be able to use things like cereal boxes or, cartons that things have come in. So that's what you need. You don't need to buy any special materials, even the junk mail that comes in your mail. And I'm sure your parents might be happy to get rid of those things. Anyway, I'm going to show you a few tricks of how to use paper and do three-dimensional paper sculpture. And later, we're going to use our papers to make some little friends. So this little guy, I used some cardstock to make, and everything is, there's very little that we need to do with glue. It's all used by connecting the paper together. So this is my blue spot, crazy, weird cat. So before we start making animals, I think it's good to show you some of the techniques that we'll be learning today. So today we're going to be possibly using our paper in these very interesting three-dimensional forms. And these are all used just by cutting paper, and this is called the loop. Actually, this is the loop, right? A paper roll. I'm sure you've done that before. Down here we have fringe. And down here are spirals. I'll show you how to cut these spirals. They can kind of come out and be really fun. This is accordion fold. So accordion fold, you fold it like an accordion, and then you can glue it together and create three-dimensional things that way. And then down here we have a cone shape. And this one down here is one of the best ones. It's called slot and slit construction. So it's how we attach things. So each of the papers have a slit, and you put them together like that. And now you have a three-dimensional thing that's connected. So you can attach all kinds of things like that, ears and tails. So I'll show you how to do that. So the first thing I need to do is get my colored papers, which I have right here, just to show you the various ways that you can cut and curl paper. So you're going to need scissors, maybe a pencil, and a glue stick. If I didn't say that in the beginning, get those things ready too. So the first shape we're going to look at is how to do a roll. So with a roll, it's just like the name says. We take a piece of paper, a strip, and we roll it like that. And then we have a roll shape, just like that. If you want it to stay together in a roll, you simply put some glue stick on there and tape it together. And so now you have a three-dimensional roll. You can stand it up, you can put it down. We'll see what we can do with some of these things later. They can be big rolls or small rolls. The next one is a loop. This is a little bit like a roll. We take a piece of paper and we simply act as if we're going to fold it, but we don't fold it. We let it have a loop here. But if we want to keep the loop there, we use a little glue stick on the inside and attach it. So a loop is also a good thing you can use. You can loop your paper. You can use it in construction. You could even build up several loops and add them together. And the other thing you could do with your loop is you could cut slits in it. So now you have a loop with a fringe. So we've got our loop and let's see, spiral. I'm using different colors just for variety here, but you can use whatever you have. So a roll is when we take the paper and we start rolling it like this. And you can do it that way. Or, so when we let go, it has kind of a spiral loopy thing to it. It would make a good antenna. It would make an interesting tail. Okay? If you want to make a tighter loop, you can use a pencil. And you can wrap it around your pencil and use the pencil by rolling it like that into a tighter loop. And then you have another way of looping. So use your pencil, not for drawing this time, but to help you curl things up. Okay, the accordion, we'll go back to pink again. So accordion fold, I think you all know how to do this, but I'll do it again for you. You turn upside down and fold, turn upside down, fold, turn upside down, fold, turn, fold, turn, fold. So what's happening is I'm getting this accordion pleat. If you don't turn each time, you'll just be folding it up. So I turn it flat and fold, flat and fold, flat and fold. So when I open it up, it might look like a few things to you. It could look like a set of stairs. It could be a zigzag kind of a shape, like a little wall. It could also be a tail, or if you cut it in half, these could be little legs. Little legs on something, or antennas. Okay. Let's look at the fringe. Fringe is something that's very simple to do, but you have to be patient. And the other thing you might want to do is you might want to create a line on your paper to show you where to stop cutting. So we're going to make these cuts on your paper that are very close together. So watch. Snip, 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 snip. Notice how I stop at that line each time. And you can make them as thin as you like, but what you'll notice is they're all still attached to the paper. So as they're attached to the paper, you can again use your pencil to help you curl the fringe. So you can have a curled fringe or just a straight fringe. And when you end up, it looks like this. So that would be kind of fun to have for hair or a tail. So there you have fringe. And let's see, what have I forgotten? The cone. Let's do yellow for the cone, something different. To make a cone shape, you actually have to start with a circle. So I'm going to draw kind of a circle on my paper. And we're going to cut out that circle carefully. And we're always careful with our tools as artists. All right? So take your time when you cut out your circle, and you'll end up with a negative circle. And then to make a cone, how can we make a cone out of this? How does that work? Well, we take the cone and we just cut a line. We take the paper and cut a line into the center, but stop there. And then we take one side of the cone over the other and pull it like that. So one part is underneath, one part is on top. Now we have a cone. If we want it to stay a cone, of course, we need to put some glue on one side and hold it down. And now we have a cone shape, just like that. Okay, so, and what could we use a cone for? Well, if the cone were very, very sharp and very pointy, like this, if I made it a little tighter, it could be a beak, could be a hat, it could be an eyeball. There's all kinds of things you can do with cones. All right, and then we have one more I'm going to show you today, and you probably have some more that you might know on your own. But it's called the slot-slit connection. So the slot and slit construction is how you get two things to be able to stand up on their own. So I've got two pieces, and this time I'm using a little heavier cardstock from my junk mail. So it's a thin cardboard. And when I want to attach two things together this way, you don't have to draw a line, but it might help you. So I'm drawing a line where I'm going to put a slit. We did this before with the cone. So it's a little slit there, and then I want to attach these two together. So I'm going to draw another line here and cut that slit. And now what I have are two ways to get these things together. So watch carefully. I'm going to overlap those slits. Now look what I have. I have something that'll stand up in a three-dimensional way. So we can use that same thing to add more. So if I want to add more on top, I can cut some small slits. And more slits. And I can attach that to that. Now I have a sculpture that's starting to stand on its own just by using slots and slits. Don't fight with me. Okay. All right. So that's the slit slot construction. So when you think about when you're making your animals, how do I add an ear or how do I add a tail? You might be able to use this construction method to do that. Okay, so what we're going to do next is we're going to use some of these methods to make one of these crazy animals. I have a few more examples here that I can show you. This guy, he's a little different in construction. Just started out with a folded piece of paper. I added the slit slot and added his head and his beak. And I don't know if you can see, but he's got these crazy eyeballs on curlicues that I used with the rolling method. Okay, and then I've got another one. This is one I made from recycled materials. A really goofy animal. He's got a beak, and he's cut out of a soft drink box. Here's the body. And he's got these weird ears over here. And his tail, can you tell how I made the tail? Again, it's with the fringe. And this is the slit slot getting the tail onto the animal. All right, so we're going to make one. Let me clear off my table here. And we'll start with some recycled materials. And we're going to make something like this guy here. He's kind of a, I don't know what you'd want to call him. I call him the blue spot, strange looking cat. But we're going to do it with recycled materials. So let's see here what I have in my pile of recycled stuff. I'm just going to use part of a box here for the body. And what I need to make this is a rectangle of cardboard or paper. So here I have a rectangle. And if you need to draw the rectangle, that's okay too. So you can turn it over. I'll use a marker so you can see better. I need a rectangle shape for the body. So I'm just going to do this and this. So this will be my rectangle shape. I'm going to cut it out carefully with the scissors. Now the other side is very colorful. So it's kind of fun to see how this is going to turn out. When I flip it over, I've got my colors. So I want to make the body for the cat creature, or it's a four-legged animal, let's just say that. So what I need to do is to make it stand up, I need to fold it in half. So I'm going to fold the cardstock in half, like that, make a nice fold. It's funny to see the writing on here. So now I've got a fold, and this stands up all by itself. But I want to create some legs, all right? So this guy has some legs here. So that means I've cut something out of this. So I'm going to take the marker so you can see it. But if you have a pencil, you can do it. So I'm going to make the legs here, a belly, and maybe some more legs here. So I'm marking what I'm going to cut out to make the legs. And I think it's really fun just to imagine what kind of creature you're going to make. So now I have the body. I could have changed this a little bit to make it look like feet. Maybe I'll try that. I'll cut a little piece out of here to make him look like he's got toes or something. And I'll do the same thing with this side. And get rid of the scraps. I might use those for something else. So now I've got a body, again, ready for something else to go on top. So we're going to think about how we could connect something else on top to give this animal a head. Let's see what I have in my materials here. I want the head to be a little different, so I'm going to use a different kind of recycled material. Different kind, pardon the pun. I still want there to be orange, but you can use any colors. So I think I'm going to make a head similar to this, but I'm going to use the slot construction. So what I need to do is maybe draw on the back the shape of an animal that has a neck, needs a nice long neck, and then a head that can kind of be folded down. So maybe that shape will be good. And this is the neck. And when I turn it around, oh wow, look at that. I've got a black tip to the head of the cat. So when I turn that around, this is going to be the head. And I'm going to attach it through here, and then I'm going to fold it. So I'm going to start to fold it up here, like that. And then I have to figure out a way, maybe I'll fold it again so his nose kind of comes downward. How do I attach this to be the head of my creature? Do you remember the slit slot thing I showed you before? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a little slit where I want to join the head, not very deep, just very shallow. And I'm going to make one back here because, of course, I'm going to want some sort of tail later. So I'm going to use that to show me where to cut a little slit, just like that. And maybe I'll do this one also. This is for the tail later. So now there's a place where I can attach something. So let's see if this is going to work. So I'll cut a little slit in the head here to make it a little bit easier to get on there. And I'm going to use the slit, separate it a little bit, and that's how I can attach the head. Okay. So now I have somebody with a head, but he doesn't have any features, he doesn't have any eyes or ears. If I want to attach ears, do you think I could do that slit method again? Possibly. So I'm going to cut a little slit here, and then another one over here. And let's see if I can make some ears for this creature out of, maybe I'll use some scraps. So I'm going to cut out some triangles. They don't have to be identical. And another little slit here. I can attach an ear there. And I can attach an ear here. So I can see this from this direction too. So now this guy's got some ears. And what about, oh, a tail? What kind of tail should we make? Should we make something that's curly or fringy? What do you think? Let's see, what can we use? We could use this fringe tail that we made. Do you remember how we did that? We could add this in. I think I might cut it down to be a little skinnier down here. Or you can use some more box parts. Or we could make a couple of fringes. for a tail. So the tail could, remember we cut this slit earlier, and we can use this and put this right in here. So he's got a tail. Could you add more fringes? Could he have a puffy tail? Let's try that again so that you remember how it goes to do the fringe. Use a little yellow. I'm using thinner paper now. And remember the fringe? We cut, 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 just part way. So we don't want to cut it all the way through or the fringes will fall off. Then I'm going to use my pen or a pencil or a chopstick or anything you have handy, and we're going to roll the paper around that to give it some curl. So here's another fringe. We can add it to this one and shove it in the little slot here. Put them together. Hopefully. Okay, so now he's got a tail going 2 directions. What about eyes? What are we going to do about eyes for this guy? I like to use paper. Maybe some white paper or, well, it depends what color eyes you want. Let's use a little white paper. So I have some white paper and I want to make 2 eyes. Maybe they'll be the same size. They don't have to be. But so I'm cutting 2 of one eyeball and I want them to be the same. So I fold my paper in half, draw the circle on one side, and this is how I can get 2 of something that's about the same size. When I cut it out, there I have my 2 eye shapes. Maybe I'll make a little edge around this one so you can see. And you can make the eyeballs kind of go any direction. So kind of like homemade googly eyes. And if you have a glue stick handy, I'm going to glue these eyes right onto the front here. There's one eye. Here's another one. He looks like he wants to come home with us. He looks like a friendly guy. How about a nose? Could we put a nose on him or a beak or something? That's up to you. And he could also have some sort of fringy hair. It all depends on what you feel like building with your 3-dimensional animals. So you can collect and make as many of these little creatures as you like, and it's something you don't need anything special to do except for a bit of paper and things from the recycle bin. So thanks for making some animals with me, and I'm going to let the paper cutting sample be up online for you so you can view that as you make your own critters and creatures. Happy sculpting!